Welcome
Welcome
to Shade
to
in the
Shade in the
City.
City.
I'm your girl, Treese.
It's No.
Thank you guys for tuning in. This is our review of part 2 of the reunion of Real Housewives of Dubai. First of all, hit the like button.
And a subscribe button.
So let's get into it and let's get shady. We're going to pick up where we left off. And Stansberry is presenting her book of lies of Lisa.
It looks horrible. She gave Lisa a little long ass witch
nose. I was like,
that's not like a witch. It looked like a witch nose. It's like it was bad.
And Lisa's like, wow, you're
invested
in me. And Stansberry goes, no, sweetie, because I feel you're invested in me. And I was like, this is such a rich people argument. Like this
there was a lot of rich people argument.
Yes, it really was. And Stansberry, so then Stansberry just lets her know, look, I'm just returning the favor. You're so invested in me. We're clearly invested in each other.
And she says it's because that Lisa attacked her and her husband.
Right.
And Lisa says she didn't attack her husband. She ain't say shit about Stansberry and calls her the wicked witch of the Middle East.
And I love how Nina that's not nice. That's not nice. She's not the wicked witch of the Middle East. Okay. Nina was getting on my nerves.
I'd be like, you didn't say shit when she just showed the picture of me looking like a whole witch. But you want to comment on the fact that I called her the wicked witch of the Middle East. But she took the time to put a witch nose on my face. You ain't got shit to say about that.
Yeah. So anyway, like Nell said, she feels some type of way because she's under the impression that Lisa called Sergio or implied that Sergio was gay. And Lisa says that she never said this and really has no problem with Sergio. She says she actually liked Sergio until he came after her and attacked her on Twitter, which we all saw. And she's like, Rich would never do that. Well, Stansberry had a comeback. Well, he called me a 50-year-old influencer.
And Ion's like, but you are. I thought the same thing when she said it, but you are.
And Lisa chunks it off to Rich's dry ass British humor and says, you should know. And I was like, well, they are both British. And sometimes I think Rich is a little bit more moist than
And she basically said that he was basically saying, like, like you're up here, don't stoop to her level. He was just kind of like bigging her up.
Right. So they want to move on and get back to the Book of Lies. And this is where apparently Stansberry is trying to point out designs that maybe are similar to what's on Lisa's website. When Andy asked Lisa about it, she said that one of the designs, she did license it, but she says it's different because hers has zippers and a belt. And that particular design that I guess Stansberry was trying to say she stole didn't. So I was like, oh, well, and then she tells Stansberry, instead of digging so much into my shit, you need to be worried about your bankrupt business and why you can't get a mortgage.
And focus on being in Jeffrey Epstein's notebook. I said.
And then Andy's like, you knew Jeffrey.
Is that for real? Is that true?
And Stansberry has no problem. Yes, I knew them well. We were good friends. I said.
Oh, and let's not negate the fact that she also called her a disgusting Miami escort.
She did say that.
Yes, she did. Oh, where was Nina then?
Right. Now, Lisa lets her know she's never been an escort and lets her know that if I was, I would be a rich bitch. Okay.
But you are though.
But she is. Stansberry, I guess, says she has a list of her clients.
Well, oh shit, I didn't hear that.
Is that what that's what I felt like I caught.
Oh, see, the next part I got was she was trying to talk shit about where Lisa lived.
Yes, and then she talks about where she lives.
She lives in Jumeirah. And she was like, okay, like that's where the money is. That's where the money reside, where the money reside. And Stansbury like, okay, but I live where the prince lives. Okay. And Brooks is just like, look, I don't even know why y'all are doing this because Nina's the richest out of everybody.
And then
everybody's like, no, she's not.
Yeah, Lisa was like, no, she's not. And then Nina's like, well, hey guys, hey, I wasn't trying to say anything.
Yeah, I don't talk about money. But Sarah said that she owns four buildings.
Four buildings in Dubai.
In Al-Barari. Remember, Al-Barari is supposed to be like this, that really expensive. And I think the one that she lives in is in Al-Barari. I was like, oh, but yeah, Nina's like, yeah, I don't discuss money. I don't need to prove anything. Like, I'm a rich bitch. I don't need you.
And finally, Andy's like, look, all y'all are rich, okay?
Pretty and rich.
Just pretty rich.
This is what I'm talking about. Rich people problems. This type of, we don't ever argue about who's richer.
We ever have that? I have more money than you. You'd be like, great, bitch, can you give me some?
Right? We don't have these rich people arguments. We don't ever argue about who's richer. Ever. Never, ever, ever.
If I'm saying a boat, she's never questioned how I'm paying for it. She's just getting on it. Andy asked Lisa about the tweet where apparently she said something about Nina making her staff go out their way to serve her French fries, which I do remember at the fashion show. But this is the one time I actually didn't agree with Lisa because I didn't feel like Nina was rude, or maybe there was something that we didn't see behind the scenes. But when it was displayed across our screens, I didn't think Nina did anything that was super inappropriate or anything that was wrong. And just asking for French fries because we know that she gets them everywhere. And anyway,
I didn't think it was rude either. And I think she just kind of assumed that it's French fries. They have them everywhere.
Right.
But I think Lisa was trying to say she took offense to it because it was only a 20-minute show. Most fashion shows don't even serve food.
We know she by charaded.
Yeah, she's like, most fashion shows don't even serve food. So like basically you're lucky you even
and she should have food. Her 2-hour late ass, but anyway.
And she was like French fries, you know, like she was serving lobster bites and like, you know, kids eat French fries or whatever. But then Sarah makes it a point to say, like, it's fucked up that you didn't even have vegetarian options when you know your friend is vegetarian. And at least I did have vegetarian options. Like, yo, relax. And then Lisa says, you know, she's been to her dinner where she was served cold food and there was no table scape.
There was no table skirt.
No table scape. Like there was no, you know, no.
Oh, just no table. Yeah. Yeah. I thought she said table skirt. And I was like,
So Nina's like,
that wasn't me.
She was like, when? And she's like, in the ride, she was like, yeah, but that wasn't me.
That wasn't me. And then they realized it was Stansbury. That was accidental shade. It wasn't meant.
Nina says when someone, you know, invites you somewhere, you don't complain. And Lisa tells her to take her own advice. And, you know, actually, after watching it back, yeah, Nina wasn't complaining. So then, you know, Nina says, you know what, it's my own fault for showing up an hour and a half early and trying to support my so-called friend. Lisa, oh, your so-called friend.
She's like,
your so-called friend? Yes. And she's like, you know, you were the one that warned me about Stansbury and how she's a belligerent drunk and she was just trying to befriend me, to use me. And Stansbury says, you know what, it was before that they knew each other. She, you know, didn't really like her too much either, but she was like, I ain't really talk shit about her though.
Like I ain't do what she did, but yeah,
you know what I mean?
I'm fond of her.
But she said that they're like sisters now, so she ain't even worried about the past. And Andy asked Lisa, why is it so hard for her to accept that? You know what, she changed her mind, and she said it's not hard for her to accept. It just seems fake. You know what I mean?
Well,
I feel like you actually asked that also. Like, why does it
bother her so much? Yeah. I was like, just let them be friends.
Now, apparently, Lisa and Nina have known each other the longest. Nina feels like the turning point was when she started hanging out with Stansbury. And Lisa says that she just feels like it's fake and it's weird. But Nina says, she spent this whole entire season trying to get everyone together. Like it wasn't just, their friendship or trying to get
And
her and
and and
Stansbury together.
Andy does co-sign and says, yeah, she was. And I
Let me
think
tell you
she
something.
was.
I ain't gonna fake everything that Nina said. She wasn't lying about. It was true. You know what I mean? They got the receipts. Okay. So Andy asks how they can move past this, and Lisa says that she apologizes. If Nina felt hurt by anything that she did, and it wasn't her intent. So Nina says if that is her only response, they can move on. They can move forward. So then they go ahead and take a lunch break. Ayan says that she's bored. And the only thing that Sarah had to say about her was, that they was highlighters and she was quiet. But when they come back,
She ain't
she
gonna
gonna
be
be
so
talking
quiet.
again.
But one thing I did want to point out is that Andy does not only call out Lisa, but he basically says that, you use the words ratchet and ghetto in your confessional when you said Nina was talking about Stansbury. And he's like, that don't even sound like something Nina would say. And then she's like, well, it's trashy. I feel like it's the same thing. And everybody's like, no, that's not.
You know why that one wasn't such a huge deal to me?
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like Lisa is one that her and Brooks, when they relay a message, they don't relay it properly. They always put their own twist on it or use their own verbiage to say whatever it is to get their point across. They never say exactly what was said. Even when she said about what Stansbury said with the sucking dick thing or the them thing, it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't, she said what she said, but she didn't say it the way Lisa related. So I feel like they always kind of do that. Like they interpret it the way they do and then
They're
spew it
playing the
out.
telephone game.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I didn't even see. I was just like, whatever. Brooks is on FaceTime with Phaedra.
Oh,
Okay. And she's giving her all the tea and says Lisa is letting Stansbury have it. Then we see Stansbury on the phone
Sergio, of course.
with
Right.
Sergio. Um, and she basically says that she was talking about how he needs pregnancy gear from her and he's never played soccer. Now I don't think she said that he needs pregnancy gear. I think she said she would voluntarily give them some maternity wear, but
Mm-hmm.
that's neither here nor there. We see Lisa on FaceTime with her husband Rich, and she lets him know that everything is going good. And he asks if they're building bridges and making and having positive discussions. And she's like, yeah, we didn't get to that part yet. So he tells her to keep on putting positive energy into it. And, she'll keep on getting that positive energy back. Now you can go.
Well, look at Rich. Now,
Listen, Lisa said he was being positive last time, but you're like, don't let that
his
bitch
game
get to
off
you.
shit. Now,
It was that dry English humor.
right. So once they return, they jump right into Ion's storyline about her troubled relationship with her father and the traumatic experience of, being circumcised. Now, Ion is visibly emotional and says she wouldn't wish that on her worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
She says that it's hard when you're a little kid and the people who you're supposed to trust basically did let this happen to you. Andy asked if she's
Really
ever
orchestrated it.
orchestrated it, right? Andy asked if she's ever confronted her mother about the circumcision, and she says her mother had no part in it. She said she was just going to visit her aunt who made great pancakes in the morning, and she thought she was going like a vacation, like most of us do with our aunts, uncles during the summer, or whatever the case may be, or weekend, whatever. So, yeah, and she never thought that in going over there, something like that would happen. Brooks is disgusted and says that, Ion was violated and mutilated as a child, and it's just basically wrong. Now, Andy asked about the relationship with her aunt. She says that her aunt is now running her own like organization or
And she says
nonprofit.
she's like really big.
She's
She has
been
like a really
crowned by
big
the Queen of.
NGO with the people to stop female mutilation. for young girls.
Right.
And was even crowned by the Queen of Norway for the job she was doing helping the young girls. So that I felt like that was a big deal.
No, it was a big deal, but it's a big deal because it's fucked up.
It's fucked up, but you have to understand that it's fucked up.
I guess.
If that's how you were brought up, that's how you were raised, or that's your belief.
I definitely think that and maybe I don't know, and maybe that's not for me. That's for Ion. But I one thing I never heard her say was that her aunt apologized to her or tried to make amends with her. And if you realize it's fucked up, I definitely think that you owe her the respect of coming to her and said what I let happen to you or what I orchestrated to happen to you was fucked up.
She didn't say that.
And like I said, it may be something that we may never know. But that's why I said for me, the fact that she can even sit and talk and in my eyes speak so highly of her aunt, even though she may feel some type of way.
So that's I was gonna say, so she didn't say that, but that was the vibe that I got. That her aunt was so maybe embarrassed, hurt, realized that what she did was wrong, that I would have thought that those would have been the first steps before going to help these other girls that you don't even know. So
right.
maybe I just assumed that, you know.
And the only reason I say that because I think she even says she still has a lot of resentment. She goes on to say she has a lot
because it happened. It's not something she can
a lot of pain towards her. So I just feel like, and even if she would have apologized, she still may feel this way. But for her to still, like I said, still have so much resentment, it leads me to believe the aunt has never actually came and made peace with Ion.
I would have. There's no way. There's no way that you're helping strangers and you didn't come to me, who you orchestrated.
I hope she did, because after Ion put her on this public platform and people find out who she is.
That was the vibe that I got. I would have, but you know, maybe that's me being an ass for assuming, but I would have thought that that's the first person, when you realize that you want to right your wrongs and this is what you did wrong, the first person you're going to go to is the person that you hurt the most, the people that you hurt the most, and then you go help your community.
Right.
I would assume. But remember, we were talking about the type of God, why can't I think of it now? What does she have done?
Circumcision?
Yes, the type of circumcision. Remember, I told you in a book I read about how they cut it off. And she was explaining that there's three types. Where they sew it up, or they put like cuts in the clitoris or cut it off. And she was like, I'm so glad that it wasn't that one. She was like, because I love pleasure. I said,
and you gotta, and you know, even Ion, she's like, you know, I make jokes and you know, have to add humor to the situation because it's fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's how I deal with it. And then she talks about how the effects of all of this stuff basically, you know, it causes issues with your body, hormone problems, infertility, depression. And so Andy asked Ion, how did this affect your relationship with your husband, Chris, as we know? And she says that when they started dating, she was always like hiding from him in the bathroom. And even after they got married, they were not having sex, apparently. And she said that it actually.
And I know she said that they were living in Brazil and she actually went to get it taken care of while they were in Brazil, but they were confused. They didn't know what the hell was going on, or I guess how to deal with that. So she actually had to fly back to Kenya and have the surgery. And she's like, I'm so lucky my husband paid for it. And now they fuck all the time.
Yes, and they do it
all the time. Not mine.
Now, Andy asked Ion what made her want to open up publicly about this. And she says that honestly, Sarah did. She said that she was so easy to talk to. And after having the situation happen to her niece a few weeks prior, and they tried to say it was religious. And she was like, I'm a Muslim and I've never read anything in any of my books that say anything about mutilation or circumcision. And so she was like, and Sarah was there for her and obviously suggested the hypnotherapy. And she turns to Sarah and basically thanks her for introducing her to that, because she said it was so helpful and she felt like there were kilos lifted off her. after going through that. So yeah, no. And then yeah, no, she basically talks about how she hopes to, by her talking about it, she can help stop the sexual abuse of young people. And then said they go to Sarah. Andy's like, so Sarah, why did you think that would be helpful? Sarah breaks down how hypnotherapy goes to your subconscious mind, and that's what all your memories, where all your memories are at. And then that you can't reach on your own, I guess. So way back there, the stuff that you push back that you don't want to deal with. And I guess hypnotherapy brings it to the forefront so that you can deal with it and release, which if that's the case, I don't know if I want to do it, but it sounds interesting. And yeah, so it was a really cute moment. She let Sarah know, she apologizes to her if she ever felt like she judged her by calling her judgmental, and tells her that she honestly loves her. She has a really good time with her, and she's sorry if she hurt her. Now, Sarah tells her that people who are in survival mode unknowingly think that it's them against the world. And all the girls can kind of agree that Ion moves around with this like suit of armor on.
Like everyone's trying to attack her. Yes,
trying to attack her.
Ion, she agrees that, when you trust someone and you love someone and they do these horrific things to you, this is how it kind of leaves you. It kind of leaves you walking around with this shield and this suit of armor. And she she agrees. She agrees basically, and says that she doesn't trust anyone. And she knows the things that she's dealing with, but this is why the cast get who they get when they are dealing with Ion, basically.
Right. So we good on the lighter side of things, and we learned that Ion is not only one of the world's most amazing models, as we know, but she is also a owner of an agency. But then I love how she tapped on that, but then she goes back into herself, of course, and talks about how her clients love her, because when she gets on stage, she comes out and kills it, and she's giving Rihanna, she's giving Beyonce, Nicki Minaj,
giving Iman,
Naomi Campbell, my body. I was loving it. It was actually really cute. Then Andy asked her, does she ever wear sweatpants? And we actually learned that she does. Apparently she went to a movie in sweatpants, believe it or not.
And she said at least they got the worst pictures of her.
And I believe that. She's very vulnerable, Lisa. Then they address Ion's comment saying Nina was mashed potatoes with no butter.
Her style.
Ion does apologize and says she doesn't even remember saying that. Nina is taken aback because she was like, that was at the lunch you apologized for dinner, then turned around and tried to make me feel like I was a bad friend. And I do remember that. Ion says she said that because she knew Nina, and the fact that she didn't say anything to Brooks or Stansberry at the dinner made Ion feel like Nina thought she was wrong. And she said she felt bullied. And I was like,
she basically felt like she should have stood up and told the girls to stop, but apparently
Nina actually did.
She did, but they were yelling too loud that they couldn't hear her. And of course, they run the clip back, and like Bravo does with their receipts, and you do see her telling them to calm down, to relax, to stop, or whatever. But really, you could tell also that Ion could not hear her
because
it looked like she didn't even see her. So, but Stansberry tells her that, it's her body language, really, that, she says that she comes, very hard and very fast. And she understands because when she speaks, you always assume like the worst straight away. And I think she was referring to herself. So I guess.
No, but they established that, I think, with the last episode, when they sat down and had their heart to heart.
So I think she was like, kind of trying to relate to her. Right. And says, the backstory for her, she knows that there was a very strong story about about getting rid of her. And look, Brixton, I was like, what? Who said that? Look, who said that?
Like, no, and she said, I swear on my child. And Brooks was like, no, don't do that. She was like, because I was a part of it.
I was a part of it. But this is what I was talking about. So apparently, Brooks says, before they started filming, they were discussing that she felt like she was the queen bee. She meaning Stansberry. Then Sarah clears it up and says that she told her that she thinks the show is about her, and let's come together and show her that the show isn't about her. And they all agree that that's completely different than saying we're trying to get rid of this bitch.
Right.
But this is what I'm Brooks. Okay, because Brooks has done it before. This is not the first time she's done it. Okay. They hear things, they interpret it, and then they spew it out however their mind translated it, rather than how it actually happened.
Well, and I'd like to say, because I think maybe, and viewers, maybe you know, maybe you don't know Shade Squad. And let me just remind you, if you haven't already, please make sure that you like the video.
And you subscribe.
But a lot of people don't know that Caroline Stansberry was actually already on Bravo for apparently 3 seasons on Ladies of London. Yeah. I never watched it.
Andy cleared that up real quick. Like basically she was the queen bee.
So basically he was just like, no, the show was not going to be surrounded around her, but she was the anchor to get people to come over and watch this show. Like, and granted, props to Andy for having her back. And the thing is,
basically they wanted to follow her because he said she had this whole new life in Dubai. So right. I couldn't have been Stansberry in that moment. All that getting up and twirling around, shit, I would have took my moment. I've been like, what? Who's the queen bee?
Right.
Not you.
Look,
not you.
I didn't say
it. Her.
She's like, I never said that though. Y'all are putting something on me that I never said.
I would have said it right then and there though.
Right.
So like y'all are here on this platform because they're following my life. You know, the one that can't get a mortgage and the one that got bankruptcies.
Well, Andy interrupts. We get there. Then Ion says she has no issues with Stansberry being a queen because all the ladies sitting there are queens. And Stansberry agrees. Then they go into the Real Kids of Dubai portion of the show, which I thought was super cute. I don't think we've ever seen this done in any Real Housewives franchise. And don't get me lying, because I stopped watching all the other ones.
I don't remember.
I can't tell you the last time I seen New Jersey.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I guess out the ones that we watch, I guess that's true.
Right, yeah. But I know from the ones that we watch, I ain't never seen this. So I thought it was really cute. So Andy asked Sarah where Matum gets his sense of humor from, and we all know it's Sarah.
She like hello.
Right. And then
that was given you.
What? Oh, yeah. So then Andy asks how he's doing with embracing his culture, and she's like, well, you know, he tries to act like he doesn't know it, or you know, he doesn't like it, but he's a smart boy and he knows and accepts it, and you know, whatever. So then
I know he also asked what type of relationship Matum has with his father.
Yeah.
And she says, you know, that he barely sees him, but when he does, you know, he's a good dad and she takes care of him financially, including everything else.
Physically, mentally, yeah.
And she says that being a single parent in the UAE, some people get it and some people don't, but you know, some people judge her. And you know, especially since she's been divorced twice, you know, they look at her like she's the problem or it's her fault.
Right. They get into Stansberry being in boarding school and how that affected how she raised her children. She said she wouldn't send them away to boarding school. They would have to make the choice if they ever wanted to go. She says she's a lot more affectionate with her kids, but does find it hard because she doesn't really know how to do it. And I thought that was deep, that she knows that. She talks about, you know, how most mothers, when their babies are first born, they automatically have that natural attachment. And she said that's not how she was with her kids, and said that she was a workaholic. And she actually says that she actually is looking forward to hopefully having a baby with Sergio, because she feels like she would obviously do a lot of things differently. So I thought that was a real good moment of reflection for her.
When Nina, he talks about, you know, how she wants to keep her kids grounded, but she had a sleepover in an $8,000 a night hotel and asked if it's possible to not spoil your kids. And she basically says that she spoils them with things that creates memories and feels that that's priceless. And I felt like she just shut it down with that. She was just like, period, dot. Okay. He then asked Ion how if she made any more peace with My shit says Tyler, and I know that is not that boy's name.
Taj.
Taj. Okay. Taj going to college, and she's like, just a few days ago, he told me he want me to come with him. Okay. Apparently, she's looking forward to playing beer pong in her couture. And
Brooke suggested that. She said that she would look really good.
She said she definitely she gonna do it. She gonna do it, boo. You know, she says like he's iffy with the modeling thing. He's back and forth, but right now, you know, he's into it. But you know, she doesn't force anything. And I know Nina, I think Nina and Sergio, both are trying to find someone for
Sarah.
For Sarah. Apparently, Sergio came real close. Okay. Ion suggested her to find someone in Africa and have Brooks help you because they got some good men. And we know Brooks like them African men.
Okay.
Now, apparently in these deserts, okay, there's a rumor going around that she dated the 365 days star Michelle Moron. She's like, hold up. No, sir. That is my manager. You said what?
I said I didn't get that in my notes because I don't even know who the hell that is. Or the show or anything. So it just seemed like, yeah, but go ahead. Because KB want to know. So tell
him. So apparently she was just his manager and business partner. But you know, there's a little bit of confusion because everybody like, so why he got your name tatted on him? He yadded up. And she's like, no. All right, no, that is his God's daughter's name, not my name. We ain't ever date. Everybody like, shoot, I would have claimed it as mine. That man got my name tatted on him. She like, that's not my man. It's not my man.
One of the viewers chime in and ask Stansberry what her real issue is with Ion. And Ion answers for her that she doesn't have one with me.
I was like, hold up.
I was like, I could have sworn they asked Stansberry. Stansberry admits that she really doesn't have. And basically talks about how her
not like limited capacity on the boat
was due to limited capacity.
And she just invited her closest friends.
And Ion was like, well, I'm small, and Stansberry admits she is small and she doesn't eat a lot, and she probably could have come. Mm-hmm. Now, Andy points out that if they had a talk, just the two of them, he feels like they'd be able to work things out a lot quicker. Mm-hmm. Instead, they both came in guns blazing. And Ion says that's why she's so upset because, you know, like I said, she wasn't invited to the hen party. She points out that, and so Stansberry points out, well, Sarah didn't go either. So then Ion tries to say, I guess that maybe she is more, she was like, well, I wouldn't expect, I guess she was trying to say like, she wouldn't expect Sarah to be invited because she felt like she was more of a friend.
Well, she was like, I'm friends with the friends that you invited, and I would have loved to been there with my friends. And Sarah was like, but I've known her longer. Like we've done,
right? Like, and I didn't get invited, so
right.
So
she was like, we've done speeches together, like for years,
right? And so I love when Ion's like, oh, well, that's great, that's good for y'all,
right?
So then she moves on.
I guess her issue, what she said her issue was that it was brought to her attention that the reason why she wasn't invited is because she wasn't important.
Right. And
Stansberry's like, okay, well, that wasn't me.
Into it. One.
Yeah.
But like she said, Ion felt like, you know, and obviously we know, back to Nels's point, the reason this whole started was because Brooks's 6 a.m. phone call to Ion. Mm-hmm. So in a way, I'm starting to see what Nels is saying.
But Stansberry does say, she was like, you know, that they really have nice moments. But then sometimes like some things triggers her. And then they're back at square one. And Lisa says, the trigger is me. I'm the trigger. You know, that she's heard things in the confessional, that they're pinky in the brain. And Lisa talks for her. Yeah. I was like,
and Lisa's like, actually, I'm the one that keeps her from going off the ledge 9 out of 10 times. So thank me, bitch. Okay.
Period.
So then one of the viewers asked Nina if she thought Lisa was overreacting to the Stansberry's, you know,
Sergio's dick comment.
Mm-hmm. And believes she may have been joking around. Stansberry speaks up and accepts that she should not have said it. Lisa wants her to admit she wasn't joking. Stansbury said she was angry with Sergio, not them. Lisa points out, but you were upset because he was talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
Stansbury says yes. She expects her husband to be by her side.
Mm-hmm.
And Nina says no one wants to be told that. Even she would have been bothered, felt some type of way by it. And when they asked Sarah, she said she would have backed out if she saw a husband and wife fighting or going
over her.
Mm-hmm. Lisa questions why she would back off when they were just having a good conversation a few moments before.
And she was like, and we was at our table. Like, the fuck?
And Brooks actually, which I thought was a good point, Brooks suggests maybe it was the hand holding.
I don't know, because Lisa said that was afterwards.
Lisa and I
she said that happened after.
But that definitely was a good point, because yeah, the hand holding would have been, I'd be like, okay, that's all right. That's great to be friendly, guys.
I don't remember no hand holding.
No, they grabbed, like they were playing with her, like, oh, but they were all, they were like trying to be funny, but yeah.
Oh, so we saying Stansbury get a little jelly.
Yeah. So then one of the viewers questioned why Ion and Lisa want Sergio to stay out of the female drama, but nobody had anything to say. Here we are again revisiting this when Stanberry was called the 50-year-old influencer. And as we know, Lisa explains it. It was a place of constructive criticism that Rich was giving her, and he was trying to uplift her and basically say, be better.
And just give her perspective and tell her not to stoop to her level.
Right. Then another comment comes in and they bring up how Stansbury made a big deal of Ion showing up in the white cape and veil when she asked all her guests to wear white. Stansbury said it was the train and the blonde wig for me. And she said if she would have arrived with her normal dark hair, she doesn't feel like she would have been as bothered. That could be interpreted so many fucked up ways, and I'm not even gonna go deeper into that. So Ion feels like she's always gonna look better than anybody in this world because that's just her, and that's just how God made her look.
Period.
She said she felt like Stansbury bullied her when she felt she actually watered down her look for Stansbury's day. Now here comes Sarah. Well, at an Emirati wedding, you would have been kicked out. And then Ion basically...
The thing is, it wasn't even a wedding.
Right.
It wasn't the wedding.
Ion basically says she doesn't walk into any events thinking she looks better. It just is what it is. And then Andy wants her to admit, so you just think you look better than everybody. And Ion says, that's none of her business to be worried about what everybody else is thinking or feeling. She just know how she feels. And I ain't mad at that. Now, Stansbury is trying to speak up and she's like, well, I look good for my age too as well. Don't be up here putting other women down. And then brings up how she watched it back. And Ion said she looked like she was wearing Shein. And Ion was like, but it did. Brooke says it was very brave of her to allow everyone to wear white. And Sarah said they were told to wear white, but dumb it down. Here go cosign and Sarah.
Well, she said they knew to
dumb it down. And Ion says she did. It makes a good point that, that is dumbed down for me. I walked through the mall in couture.
It was a bodysuit and a cape.
And then
that's why I didn't
picture her stomach because.
But remember when we were remember when we were watching it, I didn't understand why. For one, yes, you're asking everybody to wear white to your shit. For one, okay. For two, this is Ion.
Right.
She went to the I don't remember what it's called, but like the jewelry district.
Mm-hmm.
The way she did. This is Ion. And she didn't wear a wedding dress. She didn't wear a dress at all. She had on a bodysuit and a cover. Like, you're doing the most.
The most is being done.
You just didn't want to be outshined, and you were.
Then they go back to the last argument and Ion's overreaction to Stansbury. Ion admits she was wrong and said after watching it again and after seeing Stansbury cry, she was hurt by it. She says she realized Stansbury was giving her compliments and she didn't see it, so she is sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Andy brings up Sergio coming to Stansbury's rescue. And she doesn't see the big deal. It was their last day. He was coming to console her from a
Well, she said
organized.
well, she said coming to pick her up.
Oh,
That
okay.
they were leaving. So she was like, he was just coming to pick me up.
Okay. If that's what you're gonna go with,
That's what she said.
Even Brooks kind of looks away. I have that in my notes because I saw Brooks' face. She was like, "Oh, they want to talk about this."
Well, Brooks was also she should, because you would be reneging right now. You were super verbal when
About how
you
you
were
felt,
in that
right?
moment.
So
So
Andy then asked Brooks to elaborate on her comment about how Black women are told by society to be strong, while white women get to play, basically, I said damsel in distress, but coddled, victim, whatever word you'd like to use. Brooks explains, when you see a Black woman, you automatically think strength because we're always saying we got it. We are always managing the situation and handling things on our own. Stansberry then tries to speak up and says, well, I went to boarding school and I had to do it on my own. There was no one there for me. No one. Even my parents weren't there. So
you're like, boo, it is not the same.
Right. Lisa's like, girl, stop. So Brooks says the difference is white women are seen as more delicate. I love that. That was a perfect word that she used. Seen as more delicate, but the reason Stansberry needed Sergio, she was so sad and she was crying, but she also says Ion needed her husband as well. And I said, okay, Brooks, finally, you ain't always messy. Okay. Andy asked Stansberry whether she knew the women felt that way and can she understand where they're coming from. Andy questions if Brooks brought up their conversation when she went and saw Stansberry after the trip. And we did see that scene, and she didn't say anything about that. She says she didn't because it was so blown up at the time and she was so exhausted from the trip. She was frustrated with Ion, and basically she just wanted to check in on Stansberry.
But if I'm not mistaken, it seemed like she said that she focused more on the shit that happened with her and Ion.
That's what she said. Yeah. As they get ready to land the plane, he feels Ion and Stansberry both have gotten a lot off their chest. He asks if there's anything more they want to say to each other. Now, Stansberry says she likes her relationship with Ion, the way it is, and always has. What she doesn't like is the inconsistency that Ion brings. She says, we'll hug it out the night before, and then the next morning is something new that Ion is upset about. And unfortunately,
we've seen that.
I was going to say, sometimes you give her a reason to be upset, and sometimes you don't. And I can understand why she's using the word inconsistent, because sometimes Ion just goes off. Ion says for her, she feels she tried with Stansberry. She says that she's been on guard because of the way she felt Stansberry treated her in the beginning. However, she admits, I say we have fun when we have fun. We have fun sometimes. And she tells Stansberry to stop listening to other people about what she has to say about her. And Stansberry agrees that they want to get to a place where they're calling each other and it's not about, I heard you said this about me. I heard you said this about me. So they both can agree on that. Now, this is where I thought we was going to try to end on like a decent note and everybody was going to be kumbaya and hold hands. That didn't happen. Now, Ion moves on to Andy moves on to Lisa and Stansberry and asks them how they can move forward. Lisa says she never had an issue with Stansberry until she learned that Stansberry had an issue with her. Lisa let her know the same way you feel on the defense, she feels similar because she genuinely doesn't know what she did to Stansberry. She says she would like to move forward and get to a place where they can all have fun and stop talking shit about each other and enjoy life. She feels it's always he said, she said, and negativity, and basically says, you need to stop trying to exclude us, referring to her and I. Now, Stansberry says the thing for her is that every time Lisa says something, there's always a but.
A dig at
or
the
a
end.
dig at the end of it.
She was like, oh, you're great, but your followers are fake. Oh, you're great, but the bankruptcy.
That, I mean, I can't say that was wrong, honestly. But Lisa said that after I've been hearing that you've been talking to me, to all the other girls, and then Stansberry's like, but I really don't talk about you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I love when Ion leans over to Lisa and she said, because somebody's lying to you. And then they turn the camera to Nina. And she's sitting there looking crazy. But they ain't press her on it. But I just thought that was very, very interesting that they zoomed in on Nina at that moment. Then Stansberry admits that she was very wrapped up in herself, doing the things that she was doing while they were filming. She said it wasn't her main concern, but then it became her main concern when she started hearing the things that Lisa was saying, and she felt attacked. This obviously upsets Lisa's like, stop saying that.
Stop saying attacked.
Stop saying attacked. She was like, you were never attacked. And Stansberry's like, but you attacked me on a public forum. And she said, no, sweetheart, you and your husband attacked me on a public forum, and I just retaliated, sweetheart.
Boom.
So, yeah, and then,
I felt like they basically didn't get nowhere.
Yeah, Andy says, okay, well, we'll see how it develops. And then apparently, we learned that Brooks and Stansberry kissed on their girls' trip. And they talked about how much of a great time they had.
And how Ion almost drowned Lisa.
Oh, really? Was that it? And Lisa said that, she was actually sad that the trip ended the way that it did.
Because she was having a really great time.
Right. Now, they apparently end the show with this new practice. Apparently, they've taken notes from Ion all season.
I thought this was so dope.
I thought that was super cute.
I would have loved to get Sarah's gift.
Right. So then they, everybody's exchanging gifts, and Ion chose Stansberry. And says it's really important for her. So she says she believes there was a lot of smoke between them before the show even started. She said next time they get into it, she's going to say, fuck this, and let's put the fire out. And she pulls out a fire extinguisher and says, let's start fresh with no drama and honestly try to be friends. And Stansberry says she really loves it, and they embrace.
It was, and you know what? It was actually really cute because Stansberry was actually holding a fire extinguisher like, I really love this.
I know.
I thought it was really cute. She finally got her gift from Ion.
Then it starts to go left. Then Stansberry pulls out a gift. And Lisa says it better not be that book. Instead, she pulls out a sock puppet on her hand and says that this is Ion and the hand is Lisa. I said, oh, damn. Lisa,
you know what?
It's not true, but I'll take it.
She's like, the kids will love it. Yeah, I think she did really well with that.
Stansberry said the kids will love it. Now, next is Lisa. It trickled down. It trickled down. It kept getting worse.
It did.
Lisa said, she has a gift for Nina. They've been friends for such a long time, so many years. And she loves her and always has and still does. Then she gives her a book about how to be a friend. She says she's the queen of notes, and she thinks that she could take some good notes from that book. Even Andy is cringing.
Yeah, they
gave her that gift, and they handled it nice. Like Nina took it, and they gave each other like little fake church hugs. But yeah, you could tell Nina felt some type of way that was her gift. Now, Nina, being the peace, love, and light that she is, she has a gift for Sarah, and she says, everybody talks about how she loves to preach, and I've been wanting her so badly to start her own podcast. So shout out, she gets Sarah her own mic and everything that she needs to set her
podcast set up, and said, I want you to preach to the world.
And I thought that was beautiful. That was, to me, probably the most thoughtful gift. Then Sarah has a gift for Brooks, but she says it's not there because they are going on a trip to Maldives. And I said, why can't I be Sarah's friend? Why, Jesus? Not that I don't like you, but why? Why? Sarah, not my friend. So
she ain't going nowhere, y'all. That's my sister. She ain't going nowhere.
Look, we ain't gotta be friends, we sisters. So yeah, they're going to.
She said they're gonna have a lot of fun. Just let her know when she's free. They got a villa.
I drink, like That's on my bucket, the top of my bucket list.
I would have been so mad if I didn't get Sarah. I'd have been like,
I almost teared up. I wish somebody would have gifted it to me. Anyway, then Brooks has a gift for Ion, which it was a little bit of shade, but a little bit of sweet. And I think, I hate to say it, but
I can agree with that.
I think it's a perfect Brooks gift because that's what we've seen her be all season. So shout out to Brooks. I think that was a perfect gift for you. She presents Ion with an English dictionary, shade. But Ion actually likes it. She's like, okay, thank you. I'm taking my English classes. So, and then.
But also, you know what it brought me back to?
What?
When Ion uses the excuse she didn't understand. And remember, Brooks brought that up, and she was like, she always said she didn't understand, but she understands.
Go ahead, Brooks. And then she lets her know, oh no, and then she gives her my favorite, a bottle of simple
lemonade.
Because we all know Ion gave her the lemons and they were make lemonade and make peace. So I thought that was a really good way to end the reunion. Shout out. We finished the Real Housewives of Dubai season 1. So thank you so much, Shade Squad, for sticking through it with us. We know we haven't always been timely, but we appreciate your patience. And if you have not already, in the many times that I've said it during this video, please make sure that you like,
you comment,
you subscribe,
and you hit the notification bell.
And please make sure that you are following us on all platforms. And below that, you will see the name of the Cashapp where you can send the birthday blessings for the upcoming birthday girl, because it is her birthday month. And yes, it is Virgo season. So,
Virgos.
Yeah, I read something about that. Somebody was like, if you have a Virgo in your life, I feel for you. I said, I'm glad somebody understands.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But no, thank you guys so much. And yes, I guess come over to Real Housewives of Atlanta. We'll be doing their reunion. We are going to be picking up Real Housewives of Potomac, so we're excited about that. Yeah. So yeah, stay tuned. We got a lot going on, a lot coming up this fall TV season, and we just want to thank you guys for your support and for continuing to help us grow. We love you, and have a good night.
Good night.
Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Front, back, side to side. Make sure you go like and subscribe. Hey!